Are you tired of throwing your leg over a giant bike frame just to go for a casual ride, but overwhelmed by all the step-through options out there? Today, I'm breaking down the absolute best step-through electric bikes on the market to help you find the perfect ride without the buyer's remorse. 5. Ride1Up Vorsa. When I first took the Vorsa out for a spin, I was genuinely impressed by how much it feels like a traditional bicycle rather than a bulky electric machine. The step-through design is thoughtfully engineered, making mounting and dismounting exceptionally easy, which is a massive plus for anyone looking for a hassle-free daily commuter. The frame geometry keeps you in a comfortable, upright riding position that allows you to take in the scenery without straining your lower back. It is definitely one of the more agile-feeling e-bikes in this category, zipping around corners with a surprising amount of grace. However, that lightweight agility comes with a few compromises that became apparent during longer test rides. The motor, while perfectly adequate for flat city streets and paved bike paths, really starts to show its limitations when you encounter steeper inclines. I found myself having to pedal much harder than I'd like to on a steep hill, as the rear hub motor struggled to provide that effortless push you expect from a modern e-bike. If you live in a particularly hilly neighborhood, you might find the power delivery a bit underwhelming when you really need it. The acceleration is smooth, but it lacks that punchy torque that makes pulling away from stoplights feel safe and secure in heavy traffic. Another aspect of the Vorsa that gave me pause was the overall ride comfort on less than perfect roads. Because it leans so heavily into being a lightweight, streamlined commuter, it lacks the robust suspension needed to absorb the bumps, cracks, and potholes of a typical urban environment. Every time I hit a rough patch of pavement, the jarring impact transferred right through the handlebars and the saddle. 4. Tenways CGO800s. This is an electric bike that instantly wins points for its incredibly refined European city bike styling. Right out of the box, the build quality feels fantastic, and the fully integrated step-through frame makes it exceptionally easy to hop on and go, regardless of what you are wearing. The standout feature of the CGO800s is undeniably its Gates carbon belt drive, which replaces the traditional greasy metal chain. In my testing, this belt drive proved to be a revelation, offering a remarkably quiet, buttery smooth pedaling experience with essentially zero maintenance required. You never have to worry about rusty chains, skipping gears, or getting grease on your pants on your way to work. The inclusion of a highly responsive torque sensor further elevates the pedaling experience on the CGO800s. Unlike cheaper cadence sensors that deliver power abruptly, this torque sensor measures exactly how hard you are pedaling and seamlessly matches your effort with motor assistance. It feels incredibly natural, almost like you simply have bionic legs rather than a motor pulling you along. Navigating through crowded streets felt intuitive and safe as the bike responds instantly to your input. The front suspension fork also does a commendable job of soaking up minor vibrations, making city riding significantly more comfortable than on a fully rigid frame. Despite these premium touches, the Tenways CGO800s does have a few distinct drawbacks that hold it back from the top three. The most glaring issue is its single-speed drivetrain, which when combined with the rear hub motor makes tackling varied terrain a significant chore. Because you cannot shift into an easier gear, relying entirely on the motor on steep hills quickly depletes the battery and strains your legs. I found myself having to stand up on the pedals on inclines that other geared e-bikes would glide right over. It is a bike designed almost exclusively for flat urban landscapes, and it struggles visibly the moment the elevation changes. 3. Lectric XP4 step-through. This is a bike that completely redefines what you should expect from an affordable electric bike. What continues to amaze me about the Lectric lineup is their ability to pack an astonishing amount of value, power, and utility into a highly accessible folding frame. The step-through design on the XP4 is exceptionally low, making it incredibly easy to mount, which is perfect for riders who frequently stop and start. I loved being able to easily fold this bike down and toss it into the trunk of my car, opening up entirely new possibilities for weekend trails and distant bike paths without needing an expensive car rack. One of the biggest upgrades on the XP4 that blew me away during testing is the new hydraulic disc brakes. In previous iterations, mechanical brakes were the norm at this price point, but the XP4's hydraulic system provides incredibly confident, reliable stopping power with barely any finger effort. Whether I was flying down a hill or suddenly needed to stop in city traffic, the brakes felt sharp and responsive. Paired with the fat tires and the upgraded front suspension fork, the XP4 handles rough terrain, gravel paths, and pothole-ridden streets with surprising ease. The ride is cushy, stable, and incredibly forgiving. The motor on the Lectric XP4 is an absolute powerhouse, delivering a level of torque that completely outclasses its price tag. The moment I hit the throttle, the bike surged forward with authority, effortlessly conquering steep hills that left other bikes struggling. It utilizes a finely tuned pedaling algorithm that makes the power delivery feel much smoother and more intuitive than you typically find on cadence sensor bikes. You get the raw power you need to carry heavy groceries or a passenger on the sturdy rear rack without feeling like the bike is aggressively jerking out from underneath you. 2. Aventon Aventure 3. This is a step-through fat tire e-bike that is an absolute joy to ride. The first thing you notice about the Aventure 3 is its sheer presence. It is a robust, beautifully constructed machine that looks ready to conquer any terrain you throw at it. The step-through frame is heavily reinforced, providing an incredibly stiff and stable ride without any of the frame flex you sometimes experience on larger step-through models. Getting onto this beefy bike is a breeze, and once you are in the saddle, you feel an immediate sense of command and control over your environment. The defining feature of the Aventure 3 is its exceptional torque sensor integration, which provides one of the most natural and rewarding pedaling experiences on the market. In my tests, the motor responded flawlessly to the exact amount of pressure I applied to the pedals. If I wanted a lazy, effortless cruise, the motor provided a gentle assist. But the moment I dug in my heels to climb a trail, the robust rear hub motor unleashed a massive surge of power to propel me upward. This intelligent power delivery not only makes the bike incredibly fun to ride, but it also significantly extends the battery range by only using power when you actually need it. Off-road performance is where the Aventure 3 truly shines and separates itself from the pack. The massive, puncture-resistant fat tires grip loose dirt, gravel, and even light sand with absolute confidence. Combined with a plush front suspension fork that boasts generous travel, this bike effortlessly smooths out jarring routes and rocky paths. I took this bike on trails that I normally wouldn't dare ride a step-through on, and it handled them beautifully. The ride quality is unbelievably comfortable, making you feel like you are gliding over obstacles rather than crashing into them. 1. Velotric Discover. 2. From the moment I first unboxed and rode this bike, it became overwhelmingly clear that Velotric has obsessed over every single detail to create the ultimate commuter and cruiser. The step-through frame is a masterclass in ergonomic design, featuring an incredibly low standover height that makes getting on and off entirely effortless. The swept-back handlebars and heavily cushioned, wide saddle put you in a perfectly relaxed, upright riding posture that completely eliminates wrist and back fatigue even after hours of continuous riding. What truly elevates the Discover 2 above the competition is its unbelievably smooth, whisper-quiet motor paired with a highly sophisticated torque sensor. The power delivery is so refined and instantaneous that the bike feels like a natural extension of your body. Whether I was gently navigating through a crowded pedestrian area or accelerating up to top speed on a dedicated bike lane, the motor performed flawlessly without any jerky surges or lag. It possesses an abundance of power to flatten the steepest hills in your city, yet it manages to deliver that power with a level of grace and predictability that is usually reserved for bikes costing twice as much. The ride comfort on the Discover 2 is nothing short of exceptional, largely thanks to its premium front suspension fork with hydraulic lockout and its high-volume, puncture-resistant tires. These components work in perfect harmony to absorb road vibrations, potholes, and unexpected bumps, delivering a buttery smooth ride that feels like you are floating on a cloud. The inclusion of top-tier hydraulic disc brakes means you can ride this fast, comfortable machine with total confidence, knowing you have precise, reliable stopping power right at your fingertips, regardless of the weather conditions.